Hi again, welcome back. It is now Thursday, January 14th. I'm here to finish up our read aloud from yesterday. Yesterday, I started reading a story called Follow the Drinking Gourd. And this is a really good story to really think about our fix up strategies because there's a lot of information that we might not be familiar with. So we have to stop, ask questions, and think about maybe some things we already know or where we can go to find that information. Because some of this it's kind of tricky. It doesn't really make sense at first. So I'm going to continue on with our read aloud. But first, I'm going to summarize a little bit and think back about what I read to you yesterday about the drinking gourd. And we talked a little bit about Harriet Tubman and Peg Leg Joe and how they were very helpful in helping a lot of the slaves escape to Canada, to freedom. And they were able to travel at night and kind of hide and had different places where they could stay and not be found. And the drinking gourd, as we kind of just talked about yesterday, was actually the Big Dipper in the sky. And it looks like a ladle that you might scoop in down into a bucket of water to drink out of it. And they call those drinking gourds. We don't really call them that now, but that's what they used to be called. And so when they sang follow the drinking gourd, what they really meant was follow the Big Dipper in the sky and it will lead you in the direction to freedom. So it was kind of like their secret code. So we are going to read on. The last thing I read to you was kind of them kind of singing their little song, Follow the Drinking Gourd. We talked about how sometimes there were people along the way who would bring them food, and they traveled on through the night. So I'll finish this up. On and on they followed the trail to the river's end. From the top of the hill, they saw the new path, another river beneath the stars, to lead them to freedom land. I can show you the picture. The drinking gourd led them on. The song was almost done. When the great big river meets the little rivers, follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is awaiting for you to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. Then they climbed the last hill. Down below was Peg Leg Joe, waiting at the wide Ohio River to carry them across. And I'm thinking back, I know where the Ohio River is. That's actually a river that separates Indiana from Kentucky and also Ohio from Kentucky. So I know that if they were in the area of the Ohio River, they were working their way north. Their spirits rose when they saw the old man. Molly and James and Isaiah, old Hattie and George, ran to the shore. Under a starry sky, Joe rowed them across the wide Ohio River. He told them of hiding places where they would be safe. A path of houses stretched like a train on a secret track leading north to Canada. He called it the Underground Railroad. It carried riders to freedom. So Peg Leg Joe obviously was waiting for them to be able to take them across the Ohio River. The first safe house stood on the hill. The lamp was lit, which meant it was safe to come. Ragged and weary, they waited while Joe signaled low with a hoot like an owl. Then the door opened wide to welcome the freedom travelers. So they had a lot of codes along the way, making sure the light was turned on and the hoot called like an owl. Those were all codes to let them know that it was a safe place to be. They were rushed through the house to the barn, for the farmers knew there were slave catchers near. A trap door in the floor took them under the barn to hide till it was safe to move on. Then Peg Leg Joe went back to the river to meet others who followed the drinking gourd. So it sounds like his job was to meet maybe every evening at the river to row the people across. With danger still near, too close for ease, the farmer sent the 5 travelers on. He drew a map that showed the way north on the midnight road to the next safe house just over 2 hills. This time James called the signal a hoot like an owl that opened the door to a Quaker farm. The travelers were led to a secret room hidden behind shelves. As you can see, it's kind of like a secret door. They rested here for many days and healed their wounds. Soft beds, full meals, new clothes, hot baths washed away some fear and pain. Isaiah smiled. When they were strong, they traveled again, from house to house on the underground trail, still following the drinking gourd north. Sometimes they traveled on foot, sometimes by cart. The wagon they rode near their journey's end carried fruit to market and the runaways to freedom. At last, they came to the shores of Lake Erie. That might be a good thing to look up as I kind of read about. Lake Erie is up towards the border of between the United States and Canada. It's one of the Great Lakes, so that might be something for you to look up. Where is Lake Erie? Where is it in relation to Canada? Molly and James and Isaiah, Old Hattie and young George climbed aboard the steamship that would carry them across to Canada to freedom. 5 more souls are safe, Old Hattie cried. The sun shone bright when they stepped on land. So that tells me that once they crossed Lake Erie, they were to safety. They had followed the drinking gourd. And that's the end. And in the back of this book is the song Follow the Drinking Gourd. And again, see if you can, after you are finished watching and listening to this read aloud, go ahead and play the song that I posted, and you can kind of hear the tune and how it went and what the slaves were singing as they traveled north. Hopefully this book helped you. Hopefully you learned something and we were able to monitor our own reading and stop and think about what was going on to be able to comprehend today's story.